this is, like I said, our first episode of Random Crap. I think this is a fucking great idea, by the way.
Well, why don't we introduce ourselves?
Go ahead.
All right. I am Doug, a 45-year-old white male from Alabama with ADD like a mug. And
True story. True story.
I shouldn't have any of the associated issues that I should have from coming from Alabama. I do not love football. Don't give a fuck about Jesus.
Football and Jesus are big.
Yeah, football and Jesus are huge.
Yeah, big in the South.
It's practically a religion.
Isn't there like a church like every mile?
Yeah.
Like, there's literally like churches like
Churches
it's like
and
Starbucks.
Yeah, churches and barbecue joints.
With names like Primitive Baptist.
That was my favorite.
Oh, my hometown's got Heaven's Gate Baptist Church. I thought that was really funny.
You win.
Wasn't that like a
you win.
cult?
All right.
Yeah, they all killed theirs.
Next to introduce themselves, who wants to jump in here?
My name is Adam. I'm also a straight white male from the South. And
No one said Doug was straight.
Did you just throw straight in there?
yeah, but it's okay because I'm not racist.
Okay. That's good. That's good.
I'm a music producer and I'm the best to ever do it. So
He is the GOAT.
He is the GOAT. I'll agree. It's pretty impressive. Rich Johnson, 48.
why's everyone throwing their age in? Can
Because
I do it?
Doug did it, so I figured we all
Okay,
did.
hang
Well,
on.
because one of the things we discussed was that we thought it was interesting that we had sort of a panel of predominantly Gen Xers and a millennial.
Oh,
So-
yes. I'm 25.
You're getting to that age where you got to think about it.
I just lie so much. I can't remember. All right.
Yeah. So, yeah, I've been married forever. So,
I'm sorry.
well,
Well,
condolences to me.
that's a great segue because of the introduction I had in my head, actually.
There you go. Okay. Go ahead.
Dan Adams, 44, been divorced twice now. So now I get to say, when I say my ex, I go, my first ex-wife or my second ex-wife. And since this is Valentine's Day, it was just kind of, in the back of my head. And I've got some great statistics that I'm going to throw out here in a few minutes regarding...
Third time's the charm, dude.
There will be no third time.
I'm just
now
saying.
you've got it. Now you've got it on tape. I was going to say on tape.
You don't have to buy anything for Valentine's Day.
No, I don't, and that's pretty cool.
See?
That's akin to saying, I know you've beaten the shit out of me twice with a rubber hose, but
I'll take a third.
I think that this third time,
The third time will be it'll
yeah, it's
This
going to
will
work this time.
Yeah, this will work. I'm not damaged goods. It's totally not me. It has nothing to do with me. It's all them. So, I'm also eating a Crunch Wrap. I apologize. Yeah, right. We're going to throw a little ASMR, little Taco Bell shilling in there for him. ASMR.
Just real quick, it's dangerous for me to drive, and I'm just going to let everyone know. I'm partially blind, and I just realized today how fucking dangerous it is for me to be on the highway.
Yeah, we kind of tried to tell you that, but yeah, you weren't going to listen.
Yeah, you don't
No.
listen.
I wouldn't have
It's
listened
so
either, for the record.
dangerous.
So
I just wanted to throw that out.
You're a Gen Xer. You're not going to listen.
no, Gen Xers, we don't. Yeah, we know everything. Trust me. So real quick, I said it was Valentine's Day, and we know how much I love love. There is some statistics I thought I'd throw out here for Valentine's Day. First off, and this is no mystery to anybody, right? Divorce rate in the United States is still sitting around 51%, I think last time I checked, so I can say confidently that more than half of all marriages lead into divorce, right?
But that's been that way forever.
It really has.
It's been that way
It really
forever.
has, and that's it's fun. It kind of shows you how metrics can be skewed. Numbers are numbers, right? And I think we all agree with that it's good to get metrics, get information, but it's how you present that information. 51%, you're talking 1% over half, but it's fun to say over half of all marriages end in divorce.
Say and.
Less than half of all marriages are successful.
Successful, right? There's another way you can do it.
Is there a half full kind of way to say that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you get into a marriage, don't worry, it'll be over soon.
Or the leading cause of divorce is marriage.
Yeah, there's that one too.
I like that one.
Yeah.
Yes. 100% of divorces begin with marriage.
Yes.
So just don't get married.
See, that's the goofy thing about statistics. It's kind of like, you've heard that, somebody's going to take you out in the ocean. And you're like, I'm not going to swim in that shit. There's sharks out there. And they say, well, 90% of all shark attacks happen in shallow water. And you're like, yeah, that's where all the people hang out. It's called the beach.
That's right.
If I go over here, then I'm the 10%.
Yeah.
Dude, I've been married for a long time.
So there's a
Just leave, dude.
Fuck that.
No, don't.
No.
It would be less painful to, let's see, what would be the appropriate term for removing your own testicles with a pair of scissors?
Dull.
Scissor
rusty
testolectomy?
scissors. That's a good one. I like that.
We'll just call it a nutectomy.
well,
Yeah.
again, it's
That's not
interesting.
what it's called. What are you guys talking about?
A nutectomy.
There's a name for it, and it's not nutectomy.
Yeah, we're going with nutectomy.
Nutectomy.
Okay.
Yeah,
Is it
nutectomy.
scrotumectomy?
Yeah, think we just found the name for our podcast.
Well, see, all we have to do is we'll call it a nutectomy, and then I tweet it, and then you retweet it, and then you
becomes a word.
retweet it, and then you retweet it, and it automatically becomes true.
Oh
Boom,
yeah, then we're
trending.
trending.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hashtag trending.
Like 5 people tweeted about it.
I never understood the hashtag thing. I don't get it.
It's just metadata, so you like tag your post so people can search by it.
I think it's stupid. I think we could
It
go
doesn't
back.
need you.
I want to, if we could go back to like 1987.
No.
That was a good year.
No, that was a terrible fucking year. I got beat up in high school, middle school, grade
yeah.
school,
Fuck yeah.
college. I was short.
And I went to work and got beat up at work.
Yeah, I mean, came home, people beat me there. Yeah, no, fuck the 80s, dude.
That's why it was good, right?
Fuck the 80s.
Because Dan got beat.
Right?
Dude, I think
I
so
remember back in the good old days when just everybody beat the fuck out of Dan. We just lined up, got our sticks, and we all liked it.
Have you ever seen Airplane? His life was like Airplane, where everyone just lined up with weapons to beat the fuck out of Dan.
Nuns with brass knuckles or
Dude,
whatever. it
kids
was.
aren't even allowed to fight. They should be allowed to fight, or there wouldn't be so many
They're
goddamn
not allowed, but they
shootings.
still do. You never
No.
were allowed to fight.
No one cared if I fought, though.
They didn't care if I fought either, but they had to suspend me because, like, zero tolerance shit.
Right, and that's the problem that I have with it. And I think that, like most things, that pendulum swing, whether it's politics or policies, procedures, whatever, is that because of the, you had someone that was bullied and we want to stop bullying. So for some reason, we've gone after the victim as well if they stand up for themselves. Well, it's a zero tolerance policy. No, that bully deserved to have his fucking teeth smashed in for being an asshole.
Yep.
Right? I shared something on Facebook the other day that said, you know how there's always those, you didn't grow up with whatever and it shows, or you did this and it shows, whatever. This one said, it was basically along the same lines of, you're able to run your mouth online without the threat of getting your teeth punched in, and it shows, right? And
Fuck yeah, they do.
and
They
I'm
do
not
all the
advocating.
time.
I'm not advocating violence. Like I said, I was always a very small, petite little guy, and used to get the shit kicked out of me because of it until I turned into little dog syndrome like your Chihuahuas.
Yes, I
Now I
love
just want to
Chihuahuas.
fight everybody all the fucking time. But there's this idea that you can just say whatever and do whatever, and that if somebody retaliates, that they're just as bad. And I simply don't believe that, right? If somebody's hitting you, verbally abusing you, mentally abusing you, whatever, it is
Knock their
okay.
teeth out?
You should shoot them.
Okay, now see, there is a what
Ooh,
do
you
they
crossed
call
the
that?
line. You just went
You
from
did.
like 0 to 100.
You did.
You should.
No.
There is
Wow,
a.
you just
Well, they'll
went-
stop.
They'll
yeah,
stop. Well,
because they're
yeah.
bad.
There is.
Yeah.
Look, it got real awkward.
And you'll
here all of
find
a
out
sudden,
what
didn't it?
real prison feels like.
Listen.
you are
All right,
entirely
listen.
too-
He called my mother a whore, so I shot him in the
Hear me out.
face.
Hear me out.
Okay,
Hear
I'm
me out.
listening.
If you kill everyone who does that, then no one will do it anymore.
Well, then you've got Darwinism, right? Genetics. You're cleaning out the gene pool. You might be onto something.
Then, because assholes have asshole kids, so if you kill them before they reproduce, boom, killing the whole seed.
I'm just ready for.
Why do I feel like this podcast is going to be administered in court at some point? Like,
I'm just trying to figure out the whole millennial thing, dude.
I'm just stalling.
like,
I'm just stalling.
I just realized
but I'm not
today-
Mussolini.
Or I actually realized like 2 days ago that,
You're old and you don't understand the
dude,
kids
you
these
know
days.
what? I got to say this. Like, I decided I'm going to write a book. I'm going to get someone to write a book. You know why? I was going through
Wait. Hang on. You said two different things. You said, I'm going to write a book.
I'm going to get someone to write the book for me.
Yeah, see, you said that right after you said you're going to write a book.
Well, I'm going to write. It's going to be my words. But someone's
Okay,
going to write
Clinton.
it. Okay.
I'll write this book.
Dude, you don't have to. That's the beauty of it. There's idiots out there that are millionaires from just writing stupid shit.
Well,
I can be one of those idiots.
That's been around since the dawn of time.
right.
No one ever does it though.
It depends on what you write. I mean, because in order for something to catch fire and literally in the sense go viral, is you've got to produce something that's different than anything else that's out there, and it is really hard in a day like today where there's 7 billion people on the planet. More than half of them are connected. So you either have to say something and somebody jump up and says, that Rich Johnson book is the most offensive thing that has ever been written. And people go, what the hell did he write about that was so offensive?
Boom.
Or
Done.
Done.
It's that easy.
Dude, shock jocks again have been doing it, being an
Forever.
asshole, being controversial.
Why does everyone assume I'm going to be an asshole?
Because we're not assuming, we know you.
well, there's two paths
Funny
that you
you
can
should
go.
ask.
Either you have to come up with something totally original, or you have to come up with something that's offensive to at least a very specific group that everyone already kind of hates anyway.
You know, there's 6-year-olds that are fucking, what do they call them?
Toys. They're doing YouTube videos.
Yeah,
I knew that's what you were talking about. Yeah.
It's awesome.
Kid makes
They're
like
millionaires,
$1
dude.
million.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's
Well, his
6.
parents make millions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're like, we're putting it away for your college. Buy all the Coke.
Yep.
But it's really no different than the difference now is simply the medium by which we are putting it out into the world. It used to be that kid would have had to get a like a production deal, and he would have had to get with a studio, and he would have had to have an agent and all
Just do it in
that.
your fucking living room.
Yeah, there's a new style of music called bedroom pop.
Yeah.
And it's all about basically kids, just anybody with a laptop making music that they're proud of. And some of it, I went and listened to some of it, and some of it's what you'd expect, and some of it you're like, wow.
Yeah.
If this kid, if you develop this kid or someone came in and helped to develop him, he'd be the next. I mean, look at was it Bieber was all YouTube. He just
Okay.
put his stuff out on YouTube.
He sucks though.
He might suck, but
famous,
how
but he
much?
still
He has a
sucks.
private jet. You don't.
Here's
Does he though?
here's the thing
Does he?
though.
Yeah, he
Funny.
does. What do you mean, does he?
Fuck Justin Bieber. Just want to throw that out there.
Marker?
Well, yeah, but at the
Marker?
at the same point, it's the way things happen now. They're sort of happening organically. They're sort of growing on their own. They start as this little thing, and then people sort of hop on board. And what you're saying, it's like I fucking hate Dr. Pepper. I really hate Dr. Pepper. I think that Dr. Pepper makes a great marinade, makes a horrible drink. But I realize that Dr. Pepper is out in the world.
I don't know if I believe that.
Yeah, please get out.
Yeah. See, I believe that Dr. Pepper's out in the world because somebody likes it. It's hard for somebody to say
Everybody likes Dr. Pepper.
no, not everybody. Not everyone likes Dr. Pepper.
The closer you get to the mic and the lower you register your voice, the more matter of fact it is. I'm screwed because I talk like a woman, but still.
Podcast brought to you by Dr. Pepper.
Yeah. But it all comes down to a matter of choice. It's like I fucking hate jazz. Really, really despise jazz.
You know what? I hate jazz too.
Yeah. See,
I'm not a huge fan. I mean,
and
just-
we have that in
jazz
common.
is good.
no, it's
See,
not. Especially as a millennial, you have no.
No, you don't. You can't know any jazz.
Remember we discussed that if something happened before you were born, you can't like it.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, you forgot about that.
Fun fact.
Yeah,
You
Jazz.
you can like Justin Bieber.
Blowjobs have been around for a long time. I'm still a fan.
Yeah, it's. I think we can all agree on Valentine's Day that we all like receiving blowjobs.
Yes.
Yeah, I just want to put that out there.
Yeah.
Is there
Yes,
any way
yes.
to enjoy it?
Well, I mean,
You could get
Well,
one.
some people enjoy
Right, exactly.
giving them.
Exactly.
Interesting.
Some men enjoy giving them.
All right.
More power to them. I
job.
just personally,
Well, it's like there's women out there that love to bake brownies. I like brownies.
yeah, he does like brownies. Look at him. I'm just saying.
Fun fact is that jazz, the word comes from the word jism. Fun fact.
Jism.
Because it was only allowed to be played in brothels back in the day because it wasn't like correct music.
You're totally making that up
You're
right
gonna
now.
need, again, when your
It
cheeks,
sounds like it's made up.
When your cheeks get that high, it's,
Look it up. Look it up.
You know what I miss? I miss the days that you told me something, I had to believe you.
But you
Because there was
don't.
no
But you
Google.
don't. That's your fault.
Exactly. I could argue with you about it.
Yeah.
Now I can just Google the shit.
It's jism.
Stupid.
It's
Yeah,
based
in
on- it's jizz.
1987, they were like, Hey, did you know Abraham Lincoln liked to throw hot dogs at children?
Yeah. Dude, remember the Richard Gere fucking story?
Oh, the gerbil.
yeah.
The gerbil.
Think
Yeah.
how that had to morph itself into becoming because it was matter of fact, like, I knew a guy who had a cousin's best friend.
Who knew? Who saw
knew,
it?
right,
Who was
who
at the
was there,
emergency room
right.
that night?
He was
yeah.
the gerbil.
He was the gerbil.
It was
Tiddlywinks.
a matter of fact, dude. And now it's like, oh, whatever. It's all fucking bullshit.
Well, I mean, the sad part is it's still all fucking bullshit. It's just, at least with a modicum of effort now, that you can semi-fact check something.
Oh my God, that kills me. That kills me when people, you know, I enjoy social media. I do. I have a lot of fun with it. I keep up with a lot of people, and I see some hilarious fucking things on there. But the one thing that drives me absolutely bananas is when people just share things and push stuff forward that does nothing more than line up with their narrative.
Oh, yeah.
And they refuse to even begin, because some of it I've had to look up simply because I was like, what? And you read it and you go, oh wow, that's true. That's messed
Isn't
up.
that all social media? I don't have any social media.
But then,
accounts.
but then some of it you see and you go, that is just plain bullshit. Like that's
Oh, yeah.
just not
I
true.
think most of it's bullshit,
You know,
though, right? Isn't all of it bullshit?
Well, the only thing about that is that's not necessarily a new phenomenon. The only thing is,
What are you
it's,
doing, Adam?
It's new the way that it spreads. But you know, I literally hate to say the word fake news because of whose mouth it's in. But
Right. Yeah, I see what you're saying. It's always been a matter of, I mean, just we grew up. Well, I don't know. I guess this area wasn't really a metropolitan
No.
area when you grew up.
No way.
We kind of all grew up in the sticks in some relation or another. I think that's something that we all have in common. We make a lot of jokes about. And there were things that were just known, and I'm making air quotes here. There were things that were just known, and then you get outside of that. I moved to larger areas and met new people at college towns, and you meet people and you realize that.
Thanks, Adam, for that.
No worries. I'm right.
Proof.
I'm right.
So it
Go
is.
ahead.
It is
He is
based.
proved to me.
It is based on jism.
Yes.
Sure.
That's
Fine.
fucking
Check one for Adam. Put it on the board.
Get
yeah.
a whiteboard. Bullshit.
My whole life, I got one.
One. That's all we need.
So yeah, we all grew up in these small areas, and so there were just things that were believed, and some of it was political and racial, and religion, et cetera, et cetera. And then you
That's
get out.
true. That one's the religion stuff's true.
All of it's true, right?
Yes.
It's all true, really, right? I mean, just go to those areas 30 years later, and they're still in the same. They're
Sure.
still the same. So you're right. It is a matter of folklore and how things are passed down. It's just now you can do it in a much larger capacity.
right, well, I mean, it's like, let's say we'll take high school circa 1990.
That was a great year.
I remember that.
All right. Let's say
No, you don't.
That's when
I
I
was
graduated.
hearing everything happen through the scrotal wall.
Through the scrotal wall.
Yeah.
Your dad's
Okay.
scrotal wall.
Were you born? When were you born?
94.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, nice.
Red Bull. Red
It
Bull.
gives you wings or something.
That's what I think. I
Red
actually have to take that
Bull.
off because someone sued them.
There was a class action.
There was a class action suit
Because someone
because
jumped off a building.
no, because someone said Red Bull does not actually give you wings.
And it was class
fucking
action, and
genius,
if you would
dude,
ever bought a
whoever
Red
sued.
Bull, you could get in on it.
Yeah, because Red Bull does not actually give you wings. No fucking shit, Sherlock.
Welcome to
right?
fucking 2000s America.
And that's it.
love
And this is why I believe that waterboarding is not torture, because some people need it. The first person that said, hey, I'm going to sue Red Bull because I drank this drink and I didn't fly off like a little bird or angel or whatever else. We should be able
Or
to
asshole with
immediately
wings.
take that guy,
Why?
put a cloth over
I
his
think it's
face and
great.
go, how about those wings down?
Because abusing
And
the
use
system.
Red Bull for the
Dude, people
Yeah,
have been
and use
beating
Red
the
Bull.
system since it was.
Because he would
Right,
be
but-
wide awake and scared as shit.
But just because everyone's done it, what do they say? One of the most dangerous thought processes in business is, well, we've always done it that way. If people are abusing
heard
the
that
system, right? If people are abusing the system,
They're never
that
gonna
doesn't
stop
make it
abusing the
okay, right? But
They're
it's
never
still,
gonna stop.
and so those of us that have a modicum, to use your word earlier, of common sense or a
Okay,
damn
what?
brain
Let's not use
cell,
big words.
we'll explain it later.
Okay.
Little teeny tiny bit of logic or a brain cell.
Did you just turn my mic down? Fucking bastard.
He who has control of the sliders, he who controls information,
I am the podmaster.
Budmaster. You've got to continually fight against that kind of idiocy.
Do you know
right?
what our world is made up of now?
Adams. I'm ready.
Mediocrity. Mediocrity.
Mediocrity
rules
has
the fucking
mediocrity
game.
has
No.
always ruled.
No,
Yes,
I-
it does.
well,
That's always been the case. You ever seen Office Space?
No. I would
I'm
say
48 years old.
that
dude.
not even mediocrity
I would
rules.
say yes.
I didn't ask how old you.
No, I got to go with Doug. I'm going to
Not
change my stance
even
on this one.
Mediocrity rules.
True story.
It's a sliding scale, and everything goes to the lowest common denominator.
Yeah, it's a good point.
You
No, that's true.
yourself.
I'll give you that. I'll give you that.
You
I'll
yourself.
give you that. Yes.
Any fucking idiot can do a thing, and I'm
Yes.
gonna ride, but I'm gonna do it.
He's right.
But that's mediocrity. To me, that's mediocrity.
No, that's not even mediocrity.
That's not
A fucking
not even
idiot is
mediocrity.
not
You know what? I
defined
like
as
this little-
mediocrity.
This banning of teams here. What is this?
But no, I mean,
Let's leave it. Let's see what happens.
Oh God.
Hate will propel you into success just as much as
Yeah, I mean,
adoration. I guess.
Guys, Trump 2020.
What do you
I
say?
will stab you.
Bernie Sanders, 2020.
No.
Yeah, I had
No,
to think
he's an
about that.
idiot.
no,
He's
no.
an idiot.
I was a fan of
not an
the
idiot.
Giant Meteor 2016 stickers.
I'm gonna go.
Just end it all now.
I'm still thinking I'd like to see Giant Douche and Turd Sandwich run again.
Yes.
They
that
did.
would, you know-
2016.
Did they?
yes.
I'd like to see that again.
And it's
I would
really
probably vote.
not clear which was which.
It never has been, man.
2016 was like having a choice of what venereal disease you wanted.
I
Well,
kinda-
you're gonna have one.
I personally feel like that's every election that I have. That from the time I'm 44, so I've seen whatever the math is on that 11.
Right. And,
So, and-
but here's the same thing. I think the
Clinton was
thing
cool.
that's
Bill Clinton was cool as fuck.
Why? 'Cause he played the sax.
Yeah, he liked French fries. He played saxophone.
And he
got
played-
ahead in the fucking Oval Office. What a
'Cause he-
fucking G.
Because
he
he
got his
played
money out.
jazz.
he played jazz.
That was a
That's
callback.
awesome.
But
He
you
was
weren't
cool.
even live, right?
I was alive.
Like
Barely.
2 months old.
Barely.
Yeah.
Okay.
No matter what one does, they fuck up something for somebody else, and then the next one comes in, and like I said, it's that pendulum swing. They run on. It's like the Democrats right now are simply running on everyone. Hate Trump, hate Trump, hate Trump. Now, I'm not a Trump fan by any.
I hate Trump.
I have no love for the man by any stretch of the
But
imagination.
that's a dumb platform to run
But if
on.
that's the only platform you have, it's like I told someone the other day that the Republicans, Trump's biggest supporters right now, are the Democrats because they keep putting these fucking nut jobs out there, and it's like, really, if that's the best you can come up with,
Someone-
he's getting 4 more years,
You're
folks.
never going to get people on your side if you just go as far left as you can, because you already have the left vote.
Right.
You're
Regardless,
you're not going to get anyone on the fence by going
vote
all the
blue
way
no
out.
matter who.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to go blue. I live in California.
problem
See,
is-
no one cares about who the president is when we're guys like us, right?
I don't care because very little changes to me
Nothing
year
changes
to
with
year.
us.
Yeah,
It doesn't matter who.
I'm
the
middle
president
class.
is. The
It
pre-
changes
My
for
life's
me.
never
It makes
changed.
me feel bad.
Makes me feel bad.
While
My team lost. I feel bad.
while I understand the sentiment of nothing much changes with the president, it is a little internally taxing for me to turn on the news every day and have a butthole pucker factor of, oh fuck, what has he tweeted now? I've never had to deal with that before. Now, anything before now, I would have agreed with you 135%.
But his
But
him
it's
being
statistically
president
impossible.
But what he
It doesn't
tweets doesn't
change your life.
affect
It doesn't
like,
change your life.
your life.
It only affects the
It doesn't affect how much you get paid, your
Right.
family, your friends.
Right.
Oh, I totally understand that, and I call that the universal UFO theory.
All right.
The universal UFO
Dougism.
theory is Area 51 exists. They've been lying to us all along. Aliens live among us, and if it doesn't affect my wallet, anybody that I know, I don't have fucking cancer, I don't care because it doesn't affect anything.
Right.
So
I believe in
But
aliens.
that's not the world we live in right now, and that's social media in general. I think it's all social media. It's always been social media, but to use the term, social media wants you to go the exact opposite direction of that, right? It wants you to care, like you said about you shit your pants and it goes global. Yeah, it used to be if you lived in a small town, you didn't know what happened. The towns that I lived in were so small that they kind of just grouped everything by counties. You lived in said county and other counties. I wouldn't know what was going on a county over in the late 80s and 90s, right? Unless somebody jibber-jabbered and you heard about it. Now a gnat farts on the other side of the globe, and you know about it in fucking real time.
Because CNN's got no
time
better to talk about it.
Right. So they want you to think about every little thing and how it affects you. But I'm with you, man. And the older I get, the further I go that direction is that it's not that I don't care about starving people and people that are oppressed. I do care about it, and I do let my voice be heard in that I talk to other people about it. I let people know. But I cannot lose sleep over every travesty or every small little thing that happens in the world. I have enough. I've been medicated for anxiety and depression most of my life. I don't need any more anything
bad
else
shit
to.
than good shit happens.
Well, I think it's really 50-50. It's just that we never hear about good stuff because nobody, for some reason, we all
doesn't
like to
make good
feel
news.
good. Right, but we all like to feel good. So why in God's name is there no, why do we do that?
Because we like watching other people suffer
Yeah,
because
we
it
like
makes us
watching
feel
train
good.
crashes. We
yeah,
like
from
watching
a
car
clear,
crashes.
safe distance,
Now-
little tool reference.
I would say you're partly right.
We're like, wow, would you look at that? That sucks.
I think it's the fight or flight, right? I think it's the fight or flight thing, too.
I think
We
it
like that.
goes back.
Oh, God,
The adrenaline rush.
something's going to get us. Something's going to get us, yeah.
All right. Now, who here has
Me.
It's probably Lester.
watched a movie in which
I'm out.
Yep, I'm done.
in which something was going on in a town, and we're talking, God knows,
Oh, yeah, the
something
guys
in
just
the
kind of
dark
come into the
times.
town accidentally and,
Well, okay, and something happens, and
In a
you
movie?
get the angry mob. People, for some stupid reason,
They love being angry.
People are sheep.
people love to be that angry mob.
Yeah.
And it's like you stand up and you say, I think this thing fucking sucks.
Dr.
And-
Pepper.
And another guy stands up
That is
and
Dr.
says,
Pepper.
I think that thing fucking sucks too. And that guy saying that thing
think it's
in
a-
turn validates
Right.
you,
Yeah,
and
right.
it becomes this self-feeding cycle.
Right.
That's why we are in so much hate nowadays, because somebody's like, I think
Well,
that person X rapes babies and kills them with sledgehammers.
I don't
long
know
as
if
it's
that's
not
true,
puppies.
but I hate it.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, if you guys hate it, I have to hate it too.
I think it's a camaraderie that comes with hating something with a bunch of people.
Agreed.
Well,
Yeah.
people are
Like,
just sheep.
Nothing unites
They're
like a common enemy.
They are
That's
sheep.
what it's all
They are
about.
sheep, but
People
why
wanna
does it?
be
But
led.
they are sheep, but why does it seem like it's easier to lead them in a flock of anger? I mean,
Because they're
even
lost,
religion. When I think flock, I always go back to this
Yeah.
is my flock. When you talk about ministers, pastors, we all
And they
came from
can-
small towns, and when one of the things that I grew to not really like about churches that I went to anyway was that all of them seem to concentrate on all the sin and hell and the gays and the non-believers and all that. They're all going to hell, and it was very angry.
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, I guess if you're the Old Testament stuff was a little racier than some of the watered down pop version of the New Testament.
People
but,
are looking to be led, man. It just doesn't.
and they
matter.
are looking to be led, but the question gnaws at me as to why is it that it's easier to lead them into anger and hatred and that
don't know if
camaraderie
it
of
is.
hatred
I think
than to bring them
hatred-
into the hey, let's feel good.
I think
right?
hatred knocks out all of your critical thinking, and it's harder to think your way around being angry.
I would agree with that.
Thank you, Dr. Lester.
I would agree with that. I think anyone who knows me, Doug has known me longer. I am an emotional person, right? One of the things that my second ex-wife said about me was that
Third time's a charm.
never is that she didn't like about me that bothered her was that I wear my heart on my sleeve. And I do, and for a lot of years that bugged me. Like
How
I
dare
tried.
you let it be known how you feel.
Yeah, see, that's the funny thing is that, again, over the years, I've come to the realization that I don't know that that's necessarily a bad thing.
Men aren't supposed to have feelings.
And that's the thing is it's,
I don't.
toxic masculinity is a real thing. And
Yeah.
it's whenever you talk about it, immediately you're a wuss, you're a pussy, you're whatever. And I think that's a shame because we are encouraged to be angry. Like we even do it with each other. Somebody says, "Man, that guy bumped into me. Man, fuck that motherfucker." Punch him in the mouth, right? and that's okay. Like, well, dude bumped into me, I punched him in the mouth. And you're a pussy if
That's how Rich acts.
right, and you're a pussy
I do not act that way, for the record.
for the record. Well, and you talk about we've made the comment about the whole Gen X millennial thing, right? And I do believe that I think millennials are a little more.
Socially aware.
Yeah, I do. I think they're a little more socially aware, and I think that they understand the concept of toxic masculinity better. Because I can't tell you how many conversations I've had with millennials where I've been telling a story where someone pissed me off and I wanted to, pop them in the mouth, whatever. And I've had several millennials say, dude, or you could just ignore the shit out of it, dude. Fuck those guys, right? And again, some of it is my upbringing and my age, but I do believe there's some age relatedness to it, right? And
Can't there be a happy in between?
I would like to see that, right?
Find someone
Where
and talk to him about
Shut the
it.
fuck. I'll
Right,
beat
I
the
will-
fuck out of you.
Yeah, and then talk about it.
I will pop you right in the
Right,
fucking
let's
mouth,
do
and then
that.
we'll discuss it.
You won't
all
even
right?
see it coming.
And then we're going to discuss how we feel about it. I think that the idea that men, have always, I really think it's a problem, and I think that personally, I think it boils down to the mass shootings and all that, this toxic masculinity, and the idea that you can't retaliate. There's a term, and Doug, maybe you know it, where the force that you return with is proportional to the force that was laid on you, meaning that if
That's
somebody
some
comes at
Einstein
you.
shit.
That's Newton's second law.
Newton's second.
I said
no, and
Einstein,
it's not
same thing.
physics. It's not physics as much as it is. If somebody comes up and they want to punch me, I don't pull out a gun and shoot them in the face.
Eye for an eye.
It's a little more eye for an eye is one way to say it.
I'm going to go with Will Ferrell and the Anchorman and say, well, that escalated quickly because there's usually not, when it comes to emotion and person X has done Y to me, there's usually just this continuing escalation as opposed to,
Right.
well, he thumped me in the testicle. Let me go.
Testicle
no,
thumping.
So somebody comes over and bump. The first thing you're going to think is, I'm going to punch this motherfucker in the face.
Yeah. Adam gives him his cell phone number and
Yeah.
Become
Hey,
friends.
bro, that was kind of. I'm not gonna lie, it was kind of cool. Can you?
can you go over to my house and do that again?
When's the last time anyone got in a fight?
I couldn't even tell you.
High school.
I was 45. It was 3 years ago.
I was yesterday.
Yeah, that's why I was
Yesterday.
like, yeah, that's something you would do. No, it's not. I got in a
But
fight
it's
yesterday.
But I will tell you the reason why.
It's been 10 years
the
easy.
reason why is because not because I started it, because I asked him to be quiet or go outside. He wouldn't. He flipped out on me at T-Mobile and
Yo,
we're in
that's not
T-Mobile
even the
store.
best part.
So I
That's not
said,
even
"Hey
the best
man,
part.
can you go outside?"
have to.
AT&T for the win.
I can't even
Come
hear.
on, lean in closer. Come on.
I can't even hear the guy talk to me. And he's like, he freaked out. He's like, fuck you. You're not the boss of me and all this shit. And I'm like, okay. And I go, but every other word is a cuss word coming out of your mouth and I'm with my mom.
And that's aggressive. When you're using swear words at somebody, you are being
Right.
aggressive and
And
disrespectful.
he picked his hands up and said, fuck your cunt mom.
Oh, wow.
And I beat on him like a drum for 5 minutes. And the only reason I stopped, because my mom was crying. And
That's
she's
my
like,
favorite part of the story.
She's like, mijo, stop. And he looked like Barry Gibbs from the Bee Gees. A homeless Barry Gibbs.
I don't know why it's so funny to me that every time you tell it, yeah, then my mom started crying. I don't know why it's so funny.
Because that's the only reason I stopped.
Because at
beating on him.
45, you should stop making your mother cry. By then, you should have figured out what makes her cry, and you should have stopped doing it.
Yeah.
But I will tell you that after I did that, I felt like I was 17 again. It made me feel so good.
This made me feel good.
It's amazing.
Well,
Hurting
see,
people makes
Me feel good.
It was his
so
fault,
good.
right? It was his fault. No,
But was it? You could have been the bigger man and just walked away, or
I
let
called my mom a
T-Mobile.
cunt.
They're just words.
No,
They're just
no.
words.
Hey, at that point, it's
Nah, I'm
between
with
him
you.
and
I'd
your
have
mom.
mashed him too.
Yeah.
Nah, at that point, it's between him and your mom. Just
Dude, my mom would have beat his ass. So I just had to tell that story because I think that there's a time and place to fight.
No,
I think there's a time and
well.
place.
And sometimes you have to escalate. I mean, look at World War II. Sometimes you have to escalate in order to. And again, but it's got to be again, right? Had you pulled out a knife or a gun and fucking murdered this dude, it would have been murder, in my opinion,
sure.
right?
But, that doesn't
but
he
you should have
deserve
done
to
it.
die.
But you are on a violent tip today, buddy, and that's weird because you're usually so laid back.
He did say he wanted to
You
kill
didn't jerk
me.
off this morning, did you?
Shut
You're,
up.
you're supposed to jerk off before we come over.
All
You
right,
know the rule.
I'll be right back.
All right, hurry up. I think that I do believe that there is a time to escalate, but again, I think that it has to be proportionate, right? You don't pull out a gun on somebody because they're talking shit in your face. They come at me with any type of deadly weapon, and I'm going to return force in the same way.
Apparently, you've never met an old white guy.
Yeah, that's kind of been lost with time.
You know, that whole 70-year-old white guy that likes to show you the shiny pistol he just bought. I've had that happen. I've been out, I've been working in various industries for years, and I happened to be out in a place that passed through this guy's property. I'm in an easement, I'm in a right-of-way. And the very first thing that this guy does is he comes out and let's just put this out there, he looks like he has to probably pee about 16 times a day, and stairs are a real problem.
So you're saying he's big?
Let's just frame that.
Is he
He's
fat?
old.
No, I'm saying he's old.
Oh, I was thinking fat. I don't know why my mind went to fat.
If he falls down, things are going to break.
Broken
Why
hip.
you always gotta assume people are fat, bro?
I
It
don't
hurts
know.
my feelings.
Fat shaming.
Are you
fat
fat?
shaming?
Yeah,
He's chunky.
I'm
You're
husky.
big boned.
Husky.
My genes say so.
You're big
Husky.
boned.
My genes
Okay, go
say
ahead,
so.
Doug. Sorry.
Dude, this is what this is all about. We're just all over the place, and I have ADD, so I understand. But the first thing he wants to do is come out there and show you his big shiny pistol, and he wanted to make sure that you ain't fooling around.
I ain't here to fucking play, buddy.
I just
Buddy?
want you to know that if you up here to start something, I got you covered.
And those are the people. As somebody who is a alleged gun owner and as an alleged gun owner and defender of the Second Amendment, people like that irritate the living shit out of me, right? Because those are the people, they scare me. For the record, those of you who are like, oh, you're a gun nut, screw you. Those guys freak me the fuck out too, okay? Right? And I worry about
he's
these kinds of
talking
guys
about you.
blowing up my car.
Conversely,
On you?
by the same
close.
token, I sort of love that at the same time, because that's always the dumbass that shoots himself in the balls.
When he's cleaning it.
Or in the foot, because people will walk along, they'll have their booger picker on the bang switch.
Yep.
They trip over something and they shoot themselves in their own goddamn foot.
That's
I have
Darwinism.
known those people.
Exactly. Karma, Darwinism,
Yeah.
you know,
Yes.
it runs the gambit.
Those are people whose lives are so boring they wish someone was trespassing.
They
on their
look
property
for-
so they can
Oh,
shoot.
dude.
Yeah, they're
they
small-minded.
fantasize about that.
Yeah.
I wish somebody would come through that door. I'd be sitting here cleaning my will. Oh, God.
I mean,
would you
I
just
wish
come
they
in
would.
and I just dump my load all in it. It just sounds like, a crazy thing that would have been.
but this was in Alabama, right?
Playboy
It's
letters
everywhere.
was-
It's everywhere. I lived in Ohio.
Playboy.
But isn't Ohio kind of
Penthouse Forum.
shitty?
Yeah.
Ohio's not
Ohio
shitty. It's
sounds
the
shitty.
Midwest,
It depends
right?
on where you are.
Yeah, it's the Midwest, and there's a lot of farmland, So I mean, you're from Virginia, right? Not West Virginia,
I'm from North Carolina. My family's from West Virginia.
West Virginia. Okay.
So, I mean, is your dad married to your mom? Like your brother-wise?
Yeah, my dad is married to my mom.
Yeah,
That's
it is
usually
like-
how that's like.
Thank you, millennial. Are they like brother and sister, or
No.
Okay.
Is your dad married to your mom? Well, at one time.
Oh, you know what?
West
Actually,
Virginia is kind of like that, though, right?
North Carolina has more lax laws than West Virginia on that kind of thing.
Really?
Yes.
I mean, I've been to West Virginia, and it's a scary place.
Well, that's because you usually don't enforce laws that you don't need to, right? So, just putting that out
Find
there.
that out.
Yeah.
So you guys, we already are. Don't worry. Don't even bother passing that.
I just find like all the states, dude, like the southern states.
How many
There's this-
times have you lived in the southern states?
My family lives back there. So
Where
I've
at?
been
Tennessee.
Tennessee.
That's
and
not-
in Virginia.
South.
There is some redneck motherfuckers.
There is,
in
and that was my
Tennessee,
point when I moved to
depends on where you
Alabama.
are.
When I moved to Alabama, and everyone was making jokes, and they're like, "How was moving to Alabama?" I was like, "Well, first of all, most of these people aren't what you think they are. It's not." Funny story though, because I grew up in Northeast Ohio, farmland, predominantly white would be an understatement. So when I moved to Alabama, I was in the store with my
my ex-wife,
Which
my
one? First
my
or
second,
second? Okay.
my second
I
ex-wife.
just want to clarify that.
And I'm gonna have to put an asterisk somewhere and be like, pretty much it's always gonna be her. Excuse me. So, and she's originally from Mississippi, right? And so we moved to Alabama, and I was in a grocery store one day, and I'll never forget this. We were buying stuff for the new apartment, and there was a broom handle sticking out of my cart, and there were some folks walking towards me, and I was trying to get out of the way, right? And I don't know why, but all of a sudden I looked around, and she says, "You okay?" Because I had kind of that 10,000 yard stare going on, and I said, "There's just so many black people here." And of
Yes.
course she said, "Oh my God, baby, you can't talk like that." I'm like, "No. That's
Were you
not
at
what
a
I mean."
Piggly Wiggly?
No, that's
Maybe a Publix, but maybe a Piggly Wiggly. Yeah,
I know Piggly Wiggly, dude.
but the thing was, is
no,
that
I'm glad that you're aware of Piggly Wiggly's existence.
Oh, I've been in a
Rich,
Piggly
Rich,
Wiggly.
the fact that you know about Piggly Wiggly makes you a Southerner.
No, I don't
not
want to be
really.
a
Yeah,
Southerner.
immediately.
No.
Now you
I-
know
I
what
don't
it's like
want
to live in
be.
the South.
now you know what it's like to live in the
I
South.
like being from Colorado, so,
So the thing is, like, people will say the South is really like redneck and hillbilly, and then they'll move to like Charlotte, and they're like, "Whoa, what is? Whoa."
Look at this
whoa,
this
no.
metropolis. Couldn't use the word.
I'm like, yeah, but if you go like 10 miles this way, the Klan lives over there.
Right? Yeah. No shit.
really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they were like 2 miles from my house when I lived in
The Carolinas is where slavery. That was kind of the port to slavery. Was
I mean,
South
there's,
Carolina.
there's just
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
there's not a lot of black people in Colorado.
No, there's not. And again, it's because a lot of them. Well, no, because a lot of them did not move
Yeah.
west. A lot of them they stayed in the South because that's where these folks were brought in. That's where their families were brought in. And just like anyone else, a lot of people never, regardless if you're born here, brought here, whatever, you don't tend to leave the area that you're
No,
from,
exactly.
right? And so when I went down there and I saw a much larger population of black people, it was interesting to me. It didn't bother me in any way, shape, or form. It was just fascinating to me because I had never seen a concentration of African American people like that, right? And the thing that I noticed was these white folk and black folk have been going to school together for the last umpteen bajillion years, whatever. The racism in the South was no different than the racism I saw in rural Ohio.
No, 'cause
There was
racism is
no
racism.
damn difference. It wasn't any better. There was a comedian who talked about, racism in the South, like that. And it's like, no, you don't understand. It really isn't like that. And again, it would depend on where you went, but I could argue that it's the same way out here. It's the same way in Florida. It was the same way in Ohio. It was the same way in the Carolinas. Right, it's about where you are. But right, racism is racism
It's
is
the same.
racism.
That's why it
It's
doesn't
the
change.
same across the board,
shitty.
right? Right, exactly. It's shitty. And the South, most of the people that I still have a lot of friends back in Alabama, a lot of really good people. I met a lot of really good people down there, and I've met some really shitty people in Ohio. So it just doesn't matter. No matter where you go, there you
But
are.
don't you guys just love Colorado?
No.
We weren't talking to millennials on this one.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead and mute his mic.
Let me turn myself off.
Let me start this by posing a question. Are you on the fucking tourism board or something?
Dude, I love Colorado.
You've never lived anywhere else.
No.
Yeah.
Why would I?
So,
I love Colorado.
So
Why would
you
I
don't,
move?
You don't
Why would
know.
I
I'm
move
just saying.
somewhere shittier? Colorado's the best
I actually
place to
love
live.
Colorado. I do. I really love it out here, and it's one of the reasons that I tolerate the ridiculous rent prices and housing prices.
But that's just recently. That hasn't been forever.
Right. No, but I mean, for those of us that have come out in
We're
the last
living
few
here
years, yeah, recently we moved
it
out
sucks
here
to be you.
recently.
Oh, it's just recently. Yeah, we're living here
I
right
sense
now.
hostility from you right now. I don't know
Well,
why.
you're like, oh no, it hasn't always been.
That's because
Come at me, bro.
That's because he just took his shirt off and he has a knife. So it's,
it
It hasn't always been that way, but
since
it's like that now.
2000.
It doesn't mean it's not like that now.
Well, it's like that now.
Yes,
Sucks. I mean, for
but what does
Yeah,
it matter?
for people who didn't buy their home before 2012. I mean, this is one of the few states that I've lived in that, I looked at buying a house in Florida. I had a house in Alabama till the second ex-wife got it, and I had a house in Charlotte that was gorgeous, and I paid a third or half of what the houses out here of the same, square footage and the amenities that it had. The idea of buying a house out here just doesn't even appeal to me, man.
no cap.
No cap.
Stop. No cap.
This is what happens when you teach a Gen Xer some millennial terms.
I'm gonna fuck with you later.
I'll fuck with you later. It almost sounds like I'm gonna fuck with you later, but it's not.
No, that's what it is.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think it was?
I don't know.
He thought it was just like a made up, like, I'm gonna fuck with you later.
Like whatchamacallit.
I don't know, man. I just think that Colorado's like everyone. When I got out of high school, everyone wanted to leave, and I'm like, why would you want to leave? It's freaking awesome here. You know how many fucking petitions I signed to get weed legalized here?
That was all you. That was
So-
you're doing.
That's all you're doing.
It's us Gen Xers, bro. You're welcome.
That's probably true. The
Yeah.
Gen Xers probably have had a strong hand in that.
Dude, every
Right.
concert I went to, I was like signing my name 17 different times.
I don't think it counts. Yeah.
Well, I mean, if it makes you feel any better, when I used to go to Florida, do you know how many fucking Big Johnson T-shirts that I bought?
A lot.
A lot.
What
Did you get any proceeds from that?
No, I should have though.
So-
Dude, those things were great. It was like, you know, you don't need this if you're packing, you know, and there would always be seeing girls huge.
I'm assuming that
boobies and
Johnson
everything.
or Big
if you're
Johnson-
packing a Big Johnson.
Is that a product?
It-
Is Big Johnson a product?
okay?
Yeah, I've never heard of that.
I haven't either.
I'm glad we're in the same boat.
Yeah.
Well, see, that was, you know, you go to the beach, they always have some sort of T-shirt.
Yeah.
And when you're at the beach, you tend to buy a commemorative T-shirt.
Right, but
of
is
some
Big
shape.
Johnson is it like a fishing lure or something? Or
You guys just don't get it. So let me bring.
if you're just
you-
randomly saying I've got a Big Johnson, that's just not as cool a
Yes.
shirt. That's
yes.
Yeah.
See, it was.
I have a big dick, so I don't need smarts.
It was
or money.
literally
You don't if you have
inserting
that big of a dick.
your
Fair enough.
Big Johnson wherever you could in the thing. Just like periodically I have to point at my crotch in a conversation when somebody says,
I still
I'm
don't
not
get
sure what I want to eat. And I point,
Right.
you know.
Yeah, I feel like if Big Johnson was a name of like a brand,
Yeah.
and you were like, if you have a Big Johnson, you know, whatever. But to just say I have a big dick is kind of weird,
No.
Hey, check out
no,
my T-shirt.
it-
It says I got a big cock.
right?
Check it out.
You guys just don't get it. Let's see here.
You're right. I really,
I don't
really
get your Big Johnson. No, I do not.
No, you do not
know.
get my Big Johnson. Images.
But I do have a T-shirt that says Doug and Dan BFFs forever. So it was airbrushed in Florida. I do.
That's awesome.
I keep it clean because I'm gonna wear it to his funeral.
Yeah, see, this is one of the more famous ones.
Big Johnson's Bar. Is that a real place?
No, it's just
Then that's
a
lame.
T-shirt.
Then that's lame.
Yeah, but
It's lame.
read the whole thing.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
See, this is the kind of stuff that Big Johnson did.
Liquor in
it
the
was a
front, poker in the
funny
rear.
fucking
Yep.
T-shirt that had a cock reference in it.
Wait. Define funny.
So, but Big Johnson's is not actually a real bar in
If
Concito.
it was
is what you
real,
told me.
it'd be
No.
20
Then that's not
times
funny.
funnier.
If it was real.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you had a
I-
restaurant or a lure or
I'm
something like
not
that.
even going to show you guys some of the rest of the pictures that came up, but I put
No, I don't want to see the
Big
pictures on your
Johnson.
phone either.
Get off my Wi-Fi.
Hold on.
Right.
Let
We're
me-
talking about his phone, pictures, and Big Johnsons. I don't know where this is leading, but I'm not drinking any more
Some
alcohol.
are very dark.
So I'm going to shoehorn this in because I was going to mention it earlier
right.
in celebration of Valentine's Day, right? I said that 51% of all marriages lead in divorce. A couple of other fun facts, and these are there's a guy here named Sean T. Smith. He's I don't think he's a psychologist per se, he's a counselor. He, in Wheat Ridge, actually, and I did not know this. I read a book of his called The Tactical Guide to Women after my second divorce, and I thought it was a really good
Oh, you're
book.
doing some pickup artist
little-
shit.
yeah,
Roll up
exactly,
and
like,
just, yeah,
right,
I
how
fucking
to-
hate you, dumb ugly bitch.
And they're just like, so The Tactical Guide to Women by Sean T. Smith. A couple of interesting points. And one thing that I like about his book is that he always references where he got his information. It's not just like, hey, I wrote a book, so you should believe me. So all this stuff can be validated. But two of the other things that I thought were interesting is that, so you got 51% of all marriages lead to divorce, but 4 out of every 5 divorces are initiated by the wife. Okay, I thought that was kind of
She
interesting
wants
too.
that big check.
Well, and the other interesting fact is that women still get the disproportionately large amount of
course.
the belongings and divvy.
Because guys don't
Well,
want to
they-
fuck around with
you
it,
know.
so they just
Well, they
give it
can't
to
take
them.
care of themselves. They're just a woman.
Well, and
see that whole
Mark.
just a woman
Yeah.
thing.
She's
I love
just
it.
a
Leave
woman.
that in.
She's too dumb to take care of herself.
Leave that
She's-
in. I love it.
I think that
Someone's gonna fucking murder
Well,
you.
Well, that's what they're saying. when they
100
give
no
the woman
right
more-
right 100 years ago women didn't work, they didn't go into the workplace, they had a harder time, they made much less money. I mean, they still make less money for the same jobs as men. That's a statistical fact, but not that much less that they need to be given everything, right? My ex basically makes the same as me, maybe more. Now, our divorce we did ourselves, and to Rich's point,
Gave her everything.
to Rich's point, I just walked
Didn't wanna
away
deal with it.
because
You
if,
don't
when
deal
somebody,
with it.
well, she left, but the point being is that I didn't want to, again, I don't want it on tape, right?
You can't
Tape.
walk away if I walk away.
If I walk away first, right? Watch this. But the point is that I didn't want to mess with it. It was, she was done with me. I
why.
got it. I'm walking away. But it's not, because the courts, I know a lot of men that have fought to keep their stuff.
Yeah.
The courts still are on this antiquated idea that the woman is the victim, etc. When,
Even
again,
though she initiates.
80% of the time, 4 out of 5 times, she's the one that initiated the divorce to begin with, right? And that was the case in my second one. My first one I did, my second one she did. But I just think I just thought those were some interesting statistics. There's some other really neat stuff, but
Yeah, the more you spend on a wedding, the more likelihood it's going to go into divorce.
oh, I didn't know that. I'm going to have to look
Yes.
that up now.
That's because the people that have more money
I
spend
spent
more on the
$25
wedding.
on my wedding.
I don't know if I
So
spent
I went
that
to
much.
Applebee's for my wedding rehearsal.
we went to
After wedding-
we went
after
to we went to Olive Garden
Yeah.
afterwards. Yeah, we went to the Olive Garden.
25 years later, bam, still there. Okay.
We did 15, so there's still hope for you. So you're
Yeah.
you're not that
You
far
can
gone.
still get out.
You can still get out.
I don't know if I want to get out. I kind of like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, plus you like your house and your car and everything
Yeah,
else.
I like
Your
going
testicles.
home and bullshitting. And,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, there's no such thing as a perfect relationship, right? I
Oh,
think we all
fuck
know
no.
that,
It's a
but
lot of work.
it is a lot of work,
man.
right? And when one person decides they don't want to work anymore,
It's done.
it's almost, I'm going to say it's impossible for the other person to try to carry all that weight. I mean, they can for a few years,
Then it eventually stops.
but at some point they're gonna it's gonna kill them. So I just, like I said, being Valentine's Day and seeing all the roses
Well, we all
and cards,
clearly have dates.
right?
Excuse me, I do. So speak for
Is that
yourself.
why you're
Millennial.
here?
Is that why you're here?
I'm gonna
Don't judge me.
say for the record, masturbation is so much easier and so much less
I can
complicated.
carry the weight of that one on my own.
Yeah.
Do you do the stranger?
It's a stranger in the tub.
Do you
Who
do
the fuck would do that?
I've
The whole
done it.
point.
The stranger, I've done it.
The whole point is that you already know what you're doing,
No,
so
but
it's
if it's a
over
stranger,
faster.
you
You
can't
don't.
even feel
You might as well get a hand job from someone who's never done it before.
Oh no, that sounds terrible.
That does sound terrible.
You're doing it.
But I don't know I'm doing it.
The sad part
Because
is
it's the stranger.
Right.
I could
It's
make
the
this
stranger.
so much worse, but I'm just gonna hold back for now. We'll save that for a later podcast.
I was gonna say, let's episode 3 or so.
All right, guys. Today we're talking about masturbation.
Masturbation
Oh, I can go.
Auto asphyxiation.
Go.
I don't care how long you can go, Doug.
when you masturbate.
When we're discussing things and stuff, you get me into masturbation. I tell you what, coming up next
Douglasm.
podcast, the sequel, masturbation.
We're the only people that have to censor a fucking podcast.
I'm getting acupuncture, by the way. And let me tell you, when that fucking needle hits the muscle, I fucking came off the table. It hurt so fucking bad. I'm
heard-
actually nervous to go today.
Imagine that. See, I've been a fan of cartoons for a really long time. And have you ever seen those cartoons where they took somebody and jabbed them with a fucking hat pin?
Yeah, and they
And
jump.
they like jump 50
That
feet in the
was
air?
me last
So you just said that when somebody sticks a needle in me,
In my muscle.
goddamn it hurts.
It didn't hurt until she hit the muscle that was all fucking bound up.
There's a lot of, I know a
Holy
lot of
fucking
people
shit.
that and cupping and
I did cupping too.
I like spooning more
like
than cupping.
spooning. Yeah, I like forking. I've done a lot of massage therapy and actually need to start going back that and chiropractors. And I know a lot of people that hate both of them or say that it's all
Oh, massage
voodoo.
is real. It's real.
But
It's good to massage your muscles out.
I got a lot of benefit from both.
I mean, I believe there's levels. See,
I don't think chiropractor is going to cure cancer.
right.
You know?
See, because that's the thing. Because you have people that are. I mean, obviously, everybody's in something for the money, but there are people
Right.
out there that genuinely want to help, and then there's people out there that want to just absolutely bleed you dry. So
Right.
you walk in the door, and they say, "Yeah, I'm going to cure your cancer if I crack your bones." And you get my nutrients,
Right.
And you follow
That's
this
a lot of
special
chiropractors,
program.
too.
And and it's
Oh, yeah,
like,
it's all bullshit.
when you start selling me oh, it's like, okay, I came in here to, get you to straighten me out or whatever else. And you got me believing that, okay, I'm going to solve all your problems with some crazy Dr. Oz shit going along with this.
Yeah.
Who's Dr. Oz?
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who is
Well, and when I was looking for a chiropractor, we found a lot of them that were like that. You had to come to these seminars once a month to be
No,
in their practice.
they
And then
could
I'm like,
eat a
what?
dick.
And a guy at work said, hey, I went to college with a guy who was a chiropractor. So I went to see him. I went in. I gave him money. He cracked my neck, especially my back and stuff like that. We had a guy in Charlotte was the same way. I went in. I paid the money. They performed their service, and I left. And felt better. Yeah, I did. Both of them actually. I have a lot of problems in my neck, a lot of damage, and both of them would get in there and they'd be rolling my neck and they'd be like, "Oh yeah, hold on, oh yeah." Like they gained a lot of pleasure from getting it to crack when it didn't want to, right?
Sure.
And yeah, exactly. It was like the pimple poppers. Like they really want to hear that crunch in there. But yes, when I went routinely, I noticed that I stopped having as much pain in my neck and shoulders and in my hips and stuff like that.
Just get an inversion table.
I've always wanted an inversion table. Yeah, just hang upside down forever.
Anybody out there listening, if you want
one.
to send us an inversion table, that'd be awesome.
We do take free products for review.
This podcast brought to you by
Inversion tables.
BlueTables.com.
Dr. Pepper.
Ooh, isn't that food?
Talker.
Blue Table?
No, Blue Apron is.
That's
food.
Blue Apron.
Sorry.
Yeah, wow.
Fuck.
I know, seriously.
So I went to the chiropractor. She asked me, how much how much is your insurance? Because our insurance covers 30 some visits. I ate up all my deductible
Oh yeah,
and my out of pocket maximum
Yeah.
deductible
yeah,
by February 4th.
yeah.
That's how much the hospital stay cost me when I had my stroke.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So everything's free. I am going to the doctor all the time. Dr. Gessner, I'll be seeing you later. Just saying.
I thought you were going to talk about I spent a ton of money on chiropractors and masseuse. Right, they're expensive, and a lot of insurance doesn't cover them.
Right.
Which I've never understood. The idea of things like I've even heard of like some insurance plans that don't cover vasectomies and things like that, right? But they'll cover a pregnancy. And
Those people are nuts. I couldn't help myself.
That was fucking awesome. Thanks, Doug.
I apologize. I'm a horrible person for that.
I apologize.
No, I'm just saying, I
Doug
ate a
the
lot. That's
bastard.
how much this shit costs.
Yeah, well,
It costs a ton,
When your
and-
brain, explodes, that gets a little pricey, right? I have known other people that have had aneurysms and strokes at the same time, and it got real damn expensive. And so
Yeah.
it's one of those life-changing events. Not only do you have to deal with whatever's going on with your body at the time, but financially it can ruin you, right?
Oh, yeah.
So it's one of
So
the
I'm
reasons.
taking donations
I'm
for
taking
my
donations.
medical bills.
We're gonna start a GoFundMe.
Anybody?
StrokesRS.com if you would like to sponsor the podcast.
Strokes arrest. It's
Handy-capable people. Handy-capable.
one of the reasons I carry an umbrella policy. I did IT for an insurance company for a short period of time, and the girls there, they talk to me, ask me questions and whatnot about IT. So I'd ask them questions about insurance, and they're like, "Oh, do you have an umbrella policy?" And me being the jackass I am, I'm like, "Oh, no, because if it rains, I'll just because I just couldn't help myself." But they were all like appalled at the fact that I didn't have an umbrella policy, which in a nutshell, it's a chunk of cash that kicks in if you use up all of your other insurance means, right?
Right.
And I think I've got $1 million, and it's like a couple
what?
bucks a month, literally a couple
Like
bucks a month.
$200 a year or some
If
shit
that,
like that.
yeah, and you can do 2 million. But if I were to get into a car wreck and hurt somebody really bad, and they again had brain damage or whatever, and they went into the millions of dollars and went way over what my
Millions.
car insurance millions.
Dude, let's
Yeah.
you just run into me. I'll
run into you and
I'll-
say, yeah,
I'll park right there.
You knew.
And you run into me,
you knew.
and then I'll
That-
roll out of
no.
my car.
I'll run over you.
Screaming, monthly payments, bitch!
Oh, my brain
Oh, my brain right here in my
No,
back
it'd be
is
like,
hurting.
here's my AR-15, Adam.
Whoa.
We're gonna go-
Whoa.
yeah.
Aggressive.
It's like a
Yeah.
horse. It's like a horse. If you're hurt
Mr.
that
Guns
bad.
over there.
Yeah, I know, right? The guy has been talking about fucking shooting everybody the entire podcast. So
And here's to
The Second Amendment podcast.
if you're going to have to shoot someone and you're in that circumstance, I'm just saying, don't wing them.
don't wing them.
Don't wing them.
That's just rude.
I love millennials. I love them. We're surrounded by them, where we're at.
Well, yeah, but
Unfortunately.
It's fucking great.
not so bad.
There's a lot of people that like to hate, and the thing is every generation is different. And if you go and you look back historically,
oh, absolutely.
every freaking generation that comes up, because things have changed ever so slightly, or even just majorly, and they look. Well, things were simpler when, and you can
Right.
go back
Enter
as
XYZ.
far.
Life was better before they invented that damn wheel.
But you know what? Things haven't changed that
So
much.
And so you said every generation, and I was actually thinking about this morning, in kind of preparation for this. I don't think it is every generation. I think it's closer to every other generation. And
Boomers hated Gen Xers.
Yeah, they did.
did they hate us?
Yeah, they did.
Did they?
Because they thought we'd turn out to be
Who are
nobodies.
those kids and their damn loud music?
Listen
That's
to
been
rock and
happening
roll.
forever.
Dude. No, but like, I think the only
Playing jazz.
The only reason we got legalized is because it's the one thing millennials and Gen Xers both fucking wanted to happen.
Yeah.
So everyone voted for it because all the boomers are dead.
Yeah.
The boomers are dead. They're not dead, for the record.
They aren't
No,
voting.
they're not dead. They are dying off though.
Well, but a lot of I know folks, even my parents and a lot of other people's parents that I know of, in their 70s now are saying, "Oh, I guess it's not that bad."
It's like, wow, for the last 3 years of your life, you're gonna get to experience weed.
But that's kind of what happens as you get older. You kind of mellow out a little bit. You look at stuff and say, kind of like we were talking about earlier, does this really affect me? Right? I'm a proponent of making all drugs legal and let people do what they want to do.
I think it'd be safer though.
It absolutely would. You could regulate it. You could lower the price on it.
Because people die. So people dying from heroin and shit like that. It's usually not heroin. They just think it is.
There's crap in it.
or whatever.
Right. Again, if you could
Whereas if it was
regulate it.
regulated, you could bring that down a fucking shitload.
Right. Absolutely. But then we got fentanyl and things like that
Yeah.
the pharmaceutical companies are pushing out, creating
Imagine.
fucking epidemics. All right, so I've got nothing else, and if we just keep babbling, it's going to be murder for you to edit this down into
I'll just cut
60
the
minutes
back
or
half
so
off of it.
and be done with it.
Yeah.
Right? Be like, boom, 1 hour.
Well, thanks to Adam
are we
for
done
letting
yet?
us use
Yeah,
this
thank
place.
Are
thank
we
you,
done
Adam,
yet?
for putting all this together.
I think
we
we're
done yet?
I think we're done.
Are we?
All right, I'm cutting it off.
I'm going to make that, by the way, now.
All right. Peace out, everyone. Peace out, everyone. Peace out, everyone. Peace out, everyone. Peace out, everyone.